Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the MLB slate for Thursday. We have a 6-gamer starting at 7 o'clock today. Let's go ahead and get into it. No NBA games today. They will resume tomorrow. So I know a lot more people will be playing baseball today. Wanted to go ahead and make a video for it. As always, if you enjoy the videos, appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe. If you haven't already, you can check out all the socials down below. And let's go ahead and get into it. Starting off at the pitcher position, Walker Buehler, Charlie Morton, your most expensive guys, looking over at Fantasy Labs. We can see that we have a couple of teams with the sub-4 run total today. Starts with the Braves, the Padres, and then we have the Reds at the lowest total. We also have a Coors game, which you'll probably want to be getting some of your offense from, and then the Dodgers look like another decent stack. I do think that the Royals make for a good stack today just because they're so cheap on both sites, and we know that they are a team that loves to steal bases. So, especially with Witt, he's gotten off to a slow start in his debut season, but he's still a top prospect. He's probably going to pick it up very soon, and the price tag hasn't really moved on him. 25. He still is a really good value if you needed one at third base, and this is a team that will swipe bags, especially Merrifield, Mondesi. You have Dozier at a good price tag. Perez hit over 40 bombs last year. So at pitcher, I think you can start with Walker Buehler going up against this Reds lineup here. He is one of their best starting pitchers. The Dodgers have very good starting pitching. He threw 78 pitches in his first start, which is definitely a lot more than you've seen a lot of other pitchers throw on their first start. So I wouldn't be surprised if he throws over 85 or so today, which against the Reds in this strikeout-heavy lineup should do wonders for him for fantasy purposes. I do like Morton at 93, but it's expensive. If you wanted to go to another guy that has a similar run total, does give you strikeout upside, also will probably get you close to 80 pitches today, assuming he doesn't get blown up, and that is Joe Musgrove. 6 innings against this poor Arizona lineup. He gets a much tougher matchup here against the Braves, but he's a guy that does give you strikeout upside and is just a decent pitcher in general. Shouldn't normally be this cheap. They probably just priced him low based on how tough the matchup is. Other options for us could be not looking at any of these pitchers in Coors. You have Luis Cessa going to be pitching an inning or two, and then he's going to make way for San Martin. Maybe Greinke against the Tigers, but he just doesn't give you very much strikeout upside. Like his first start through almost 6 innings, only had 1 strikeout. So he's probably good for like a low floor. Maybe not as high of a ceiling, but he does give you some safety just because he typically will limit damage. Looking at the bats today, I'm looking at focusing on these Coors bats. So the Coors, the Dodgers, they are the main teams I'm looking at. I'll throw in the KC team as well because I do like their lineup. I'm not too focused on getting bats from anybody else. Maybe you can go with some one-offs here from the Angels, but we're not going to get Ohtani because he's pitching today, so you're not going to be able to put him into your Angel stacks, which definitely will hurt. So you're going to be looking at like Walsh and Trout and Rendon to kind of lead your stacks here, but otherwise, I like some other teams more than the Yankees today. Gausman, do like him as a pitcher. So at first base, you have a number of options here. You can go down to Connor Joe, who's been absolutely mashing the ball so far for the Rockies. Does get a nice advantage hitting in Coors, but overall, a 316 average, already has hit 2 home runs. The price tag on him is super nice for the fact that he plays in Coors. So he's a guy that you can use at your first base spot, or you can go ahead and put him into your outfield spot. So lots of other options in the same game. You have Schwindel at 51. He does give you power. He's gotten off to a slow start this year. The price tag is high at 51, so I do like Connor Joe, and I do like CJ Cron over. I'm going to Schwindel just because the Rockies also have the higher total today. Over at second base, Brendan Rodgers, slow start for him this year, just 2 of 19. Was very good last year at times. Does give you upside. At this price tag, makes a case you can go down to Iglesias if he's in the lineup. He's a guy that doesn't hit power, but typically he's not striking out much. He's going to make some contact, get on base at a pretty high clip. Over at third base, this is where you can plug in Mondesi at 44. I do like getting to Max Muncy. Finally broke out of a little slump to start off the year with the home run, his first one of the season yesterday. Can definitely build off of that against this Reds pitching staff. Going to be looking at long reliever coming in and pitching some. The bullpen, they got rid of some of their better ones over the offseason, and so this lineup in general is not poor, and then their bullpen going up against this high-powered Dodgers lineup. I do think that getting to a couple of Dodgers will make some sense, especially the guys that are cheap like Max Muncy. And then other options would be Bobby Witt. He's gotten off to a cold start in his MLB season, but like I mentioned, the price tag is super cheap. He's going to come around and hit for some power. He does give you some speed. So in general, you can definitely do a lot worse than putting him in at his price tag. And then maybe GARRETT HAMPSON at 28. Also gone off to a cold start. Doesn't start every game, but maybe with McMahon day-to-day, he could draw the start today. At shortstop, Mondesi at 44. A guy that also is a very streaky player, but it does give you a lot of speed if he is able to get on base. Does hit for power as well. Problem with him is striking out a bunch. He does strike out a ton. 6 strikeouts already and 18 at-bats today, or the season. So, other options. At shortstop, you can go up to Trey Turner if you wanted to pay up for anybody on the Dodgers and do a Dodger stack. In terms of the cores guys here, you have Nico Horner as a guy with some power that you can look to. Outfield, lots of options. Suzuki has been awesome for the Cubs. He's been their best hitter so far this season. Got that big contract or the offseason coming overseas and hasn't really missed a beat. Has dominated MLB pitching so far. Has struck out 5 times in 15 at-bats, but the power is there. 3 bombs in his 6 hits, and he has a ton of power just coming over from the overseas, and that's kind of why they gave him that big money, is because its ability to hit home runs. Other plays, BLACKMON, lefty, not somebody that I'm looking at too much. He's also been awful so far this year, and he's getting up there in age, so the only play I looked at him is against a righty. I don't want to play him against lefties. And then we have Grichuk, good hitter against lefties, good price tag at only 32. He makes some sense. And then one other guy that you can look to is Bellinger from the Dodgers at 27. The price tag is super low on him. He hit a home run yesterday at his cheap price tag. And then I do think Clint Frazier should probably be getting the leadoff duties today against Kyle Freeland. And $2,600, you can't really go wrong with that sort of price tag. So I definitely like Frazier at his price. And then we do have a lot of money left, so I'm going to go ahead and pay up for Chris Bryant, because he's going to be another priority for me today. Lefty-righty matchup in cores for him. Still looking for his first home run as a member of the Rockies, but has been hitting the ball otherwise, 350 average, and is a guy that doesn't strike out a ton. So that's about it for the DraftKings side. Cores and the Dodgers, places I'm looking for my offense the most, followed by the Royals. Let's go ahead and take a look at FanDuel. So over on FanDuel, you have Ohtani as your most expensive guy at 10.8. He gets a matchup against Texas, who typically we've been able to target against, but this year, a lot different story with them bringing in some nice big bats over the offseason. Seager, especially, lefty-righty, will give him some trouble, so I'd rather go to the guys like Walker Buehler at 10.5. Musgrove, they kind of flip-flopped his and Charlie Morton's price tag on FanDuel, so I'd rather go down to Morton at his price. Super cheap at $9,000 for a guy that does give you strikeout upside. Will typically go, he's a reliable guy, goes deep into games. A second start, maybe can approach 80 pitches. Catcher, first base, we had Vlad go absolutely nuts last night. If you played him in DFS, I wish I did. He put up 3 home runs, even dealing with a cut on his finger. Other picks would be Crone, 41. He's expensive, but easy to get to him in a core stack. Contreras, if you're looking at getting to a Cub stack. I don't know why Freeman doesn't have his hat on. He's the only guy. They want to make him special. Other picks would be some of these catchers you can look to, like Diaz. I want to actually get to like Schwindel or somebody that I know will hit for some power and does give you upside instead of playing like one of the catchers. Not that they don't have power, but start off with Max Muncy, first or second baseman here. First base does have a lot of other options, so you could play him at second base with the price tag super cheap on both sides for Max Muncy. Second base, looking at Trey Turner at his price, $3,600. You can go down to Whit Merrifield at 32. He's always been a good hitter. He's gotten off to a cold start, but that should pick up, and he's going to always be near the top of the league in stolen bases. Mondesi, another guy at $2,800 that you can look to. Third base, plug in Chris Bryant. Like the fact that you can at least play him at third base here on FanDuel. DraftKings, he is just outfield eligible. You have Patrick Wisdom, $3,000. Makes some sense there. Bobby Witt, 26, cheap on both sites. Shortstop, Bo Bichette, 4,000. Hasn't done a ton of damage yet, but that should definitely come this season. Seager, not looking to play him against Ohtani, but just don't think I will stack any of the two teams in this game. You couldn't go down to Iglesias, but I'd rather go with a guy that does give you more upside in terms of power with like Mondesi, even though he is pretty risky just because he does strike you out a lot and hasn't been making a ton of great contact. Outfield, definitely looking at some of these guys in cores. Start off with Connor Joe. He is cheap on both sides with the power that he gives you in a great ballpark at home. And then other guy would be Suzuki to get to another Cub here. 36, looking at stacking up this cores game. First time stacked up cores, nothing really happened. But today, hopefully it's a different story, but they got two lefties squaring off against teams that will put a lot of righties out there on the field. So that's about it for the video. If there's any updates, I'll post them on Twitter. Best of luck tonight, and I will see you all next time.